What's up, everyone? Hope you guys all had a great weekend. It's Sunday evening, and I'm going to give you my day trading watch list for Monday morning. Now, last week was kind of wild because I had two of my best days of the entire year, but then on Thursday and Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it was a little bit slower, and Friday was very slow for me, although I finished fairly early, took off, and I went camping this weekend with my two boys. So that was a great trip, and I just got back, and now I'm going to sit down and give you the watch list for Monday morning. So since last week was hot at the beginning and then cold later on, my expectation for Monday morning is that we need to kind of get a little momentum going before getting aggressive. I don't want to come into Monday assuming it's going to be really hot because there's no real strong reason that I should have that bias or that sentiment. I think it's going to be a little colder until we have a stock with some nice news. However, last week was really good on Monday and Tuesday, and early in the week is typically when we're more likely to get strong news headlines from some of these small cap companies. So my hope is that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we see some really good news headlines that give us some really good action. One of the reasons we had a challenge towards the end of last week was because we really just didn't have any good news. And so although you had some stocks that moved a bit, the moves were choppier. They weren't, the gains weren't as well sustained. And that's all because the catalyst wasn't that strong to begin with. Now, for those of you guys who've been watching these recaps on YouTube, watching these game plan, weekly watch lists and things like that, if you want to watch over my shoulder, real time, tomorrow morning, and in fact, for the next 2 weeks, we've got a 2-week trial. Link is posted in the comments, pinned to the top comment, and it's also posted in the top of the description. So you can do the 2-week trial. It's $20. And during the trial, not only will you be able to watch over my shoulder and see my audio video broadcast and be in our chat room at Warrior Trading, you'll also be able to have your own installation of Day Trade Dash, this software right here. This will give you charts, it'll give you scanners, it'll give you the news feed, and it's all in this nice package right here. It's the ultimate day trade dashboard. That was my idea as we started building it back in 2017. So, WeBuy ended up obviously putting in a pretty big move, as you could see on Friday. This was the one that I did fairly well on. PHAT also put in a pretty big move, although this is a little bit of a surprise, just straight up from 5 to 12 and then kind of unwinding back down. I don't know just what that was about. A little surprising because the float's higher. Now, what I typically do as I'm getting ready to break down or kind of look at last week's big movers and put together a watch list for Monday morning, is I do like to ask myself, what were the biggest movers on Friday and are any of them worth considering going into Monday? So KNW was one of the stocks I did quite well on. It was actually the one I did the best on Friday. And lo and behold, it popped up, it pulled back, and then it came all the way back up and it pulled back. So now I can't help but wonder if we're going to see, another breakthrough this level right here. So we've got sort of two triggers, the high from right back here, which is 177. And then we have the high from right here, which is like 169. So if we break over 169, 177 we should break that level pretty quickly. This is a little bit of a cup. This is a little bit of a deeper cup than, it's more than just, it's not a handle. It's like a second sort of cup. So you might get another kind of wave, double top, and then the little sort of handle before the next leg higher. But that's something to watch, I think, for tomorrow morning. PHAT, I don't think this is as worthy of watching into tomorrow because the float is a bit too high. You could get a little more action, but I just think that's kind of like a one pop, surprise move, and that's it. SXTC, this is a stock that over the past, month or whatever, it's had a number of days it's popped up. It doesn't really hold all that well. However, if it can break and hold over $3.22, it would be holding over this high volume day back here that had 115 million shares. That would be significant, but we're still 50% away from that price at $2. So that's the level I'm interested, over $3. And then you've got room up to 6, the 200. But until then, not that interested. EYEN, this one, sort of like MODV, it's a daily continuation. MODV, I sort of thought daily continuation, didn't end up happening. EYEN, similarly, without a strong catalyst, I don't know that you're going to get that daily continuation. WeBuy, this one ended up closing the day with a red candle, pulled back a little too much. So I don't think that's going to work either. And then, of course, we had SBET at the beginning of the week. We had LIMN midweek. This one, to be honest, Still holding up pretty well. I hate to say it because this is a tricky one, but where's the critical level? 28.80, 29. If we can break and hold over that level, then we're looking at a retest of this high back here, which is up around 38.40. So just levels to keep an eye on, but higher priced. LYRA, also higher priced. I thought the first daily candle to make a new high was going to squeeze. It didn't. So keep an eye on it in case it gets breaking news. MCTR was a China stock that popped up with no news, and it gave back the entire move. So that one's there's nothing else to look at. So now over here on the scans, I'm going to go down here. Let's see. So a couple stocks that are a couple scanners that right now are in development. Recent reverse split scan. I'll look at that one in a second. Continuation scanner, IPO top moving. We'll look at that. And then Penny, this one down here, high of day scanner. Yeah, let's actually also look at after hours top gainers. Okay, so after hours top gainers from Friday, OMH. I got to link it up. So link it. OMH. See, the thing is, this one's a little cheaper. That's not interesting to me. TPST, 48% is not bad. But I'm just going to move this over here for a second. So 3 million share float. I mean, this is that daily continuation as it's sort of moving higher. I would keep TPST on watch as a maybe. The lack of catalyst is tricky, but it is a therapeutics company. Floats are too high on the rest of these. So for after hours top gainers, TPST is our first one to have kind of on the watch list. Recent IPO top moving. Some of these we'll just glance at. OFAL. That one's pulling back too much. It's got volatility, but it's going the wrong direction. FTRK. I don't think so. ARAI. I'm going to switch by sorting to float. Yeah, so most of these floats are a little too high. So I'm going to knock that one out. The penny high day scanner, working on that. And then recent reverse splits. Let's see. I've got to link this one up as well. OGen. The problem is it already had a high volume day back there, so I don't think that's going to work. LYEL needs to break over the 200. STI. Let's just check the floats on some of these. I'm going to rearrange this a little bit. No, I'll have to add that back. All right, I got to make a note to add the float. Let's see. I'm just going to make a note to my developer. Please add back float to the recent reverse split scanner. That will help. All right. INAB. Of course, I can see the float right here. STI. 1 million share. That could be an interesting one. Keep an eye on watch. So, this is a scan that I just kind of keep an eye on, sort of like the low float top gainer scan. If you see a stock that starts to pop up on this scan, you already know it's a reverse split. If you also see the float slow, we'll add that column back, then something to pay attention to, and then just look for the flame to indicate that it's got news. Continuation, already talked about LYRA, LIMN, MODV, talked about all of these. MFI, this one, 13 million share float. It's not quite, it needs to pull back a little bit more to give us a bull flag. S-Pro, still holding up quite well in the daily, needs to break through 3. But if it could, we had this 200 million share volume day. So if it could break through 3, that's where it starts to look more interesting. We're a ways away from that right now. Skipping over CAPT, floats a little high. And it's high on S-Pro too, so it's probably not going to happen. Zone, lower float, needs to break through the high of that topping tail. Newegg, I don't know. I mean, it's the company that has the computer online e-commerce stuff, but STSS, that's a particularly low float. Search by float. SXTC. BAOS. That one I think was one of our first ones at the beginning of the week. So, there's a couple stocks here that are going to be on side charts just to sort of keep an eye on in case they start to pop up again. And then tomorrow morning, I'm going to open the chat room just before 7 a.m. And this is a scan that I'm going to be focusing on, our top gainer scanner and our small cap high day momentum scanner. And it's possible that KNW or one of these stocks that we already talked about will already be leading the way tomorrow morning. But regardless of that, I will be watching the top 3 or 4 stocks, top 5 that are the leading percentage gainers of the entire market. And I'll be checking their floats, their price, and the news catalyst, and asking myself, if they've got some momentum, where I can break the ice. So that's the game plan for tomorrow morning. As a day trader, it's going to be trading what's right in front of me. So I create a watch list of a couple stocks I want to keep an eye on. I'm going to have on side charts. If one of them starts to pop up, fantastic. If not, no big deal. I'll just watch the high day Momo scanner and the top gainer scanner to see where the momentum is in real time. So that's the game plan. That's the watch list for tomorrow. And for those of you guys that haven't already checked out a couple of my full-length training episodes here, I'll put one and another one here. Those should help you as you're going through the 2-week trial and trying to get a better understanding of how to navigate all of this momentum that's happening in real time. So thank you guys as always for tuning in. Reminder, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, and there's no guarantee you'll find success whether you trade with me or you learn on your own. So manage your risk, take it slow, and I'll see you guys back at it first thing tomorrow morning, streaming 7 a.m.